What's going on YouTube? It's Dre Knows back at it again, bringing you another Madden 20 gameplay. So for today's video, it's either going to be the last or probably the second last episode of the Road to the Madden Challenge series. The main reasoning for that is because actually, I believe if I'm not mistaken from looking on Twitter, the last day to qualify or to be top 96 in the leaderboards, it's I think January 7th, and at the time of doing this video I was probably ranked like 800 or 900 or something like that. So a little disappointed with that, because I did set some high hopes, especially starting off with draft champions, because initially when I started the mode I had some high hopes for it just because of the lack of abilities. I felt like the game might have been a little bit better, but just with all the shenanigans that happened, it just at first it just felt like there wasn't enough defense to counter all the fast wide receivers that you played against. Not only that, but I felt like the run game was actually even stronger or even more OP in MUT Draft. That on top of the fact that there was that period of time where you got to basically just re-roll your draft every time, however many times you wanted. And I've been a pretty big, I want to say one of the first couple videos, whenever I first found that out, I felt like that kind of defeated the purpose of doing MUT Draft, because at that point it's basically just Team MUT. Or MUT mode, but you're just kind of randomized with the playbooks, but still kind of the same concept, because you're basically able to run with what you're familiar with, whereas kind of the purpose of draft champions is to kind of see who can really adjust and who can kind of really freestyle the most, I would say. But as you guys can see, just looking through a little bit of my draft here, I'm gonna go ahead pick up Christian Kirk. Kind of one of the big things that I look for whenever I'm drafting in MUT Draft is to draft mainly speed, because I feel like that's kind of what really helps you in games. But I feel like that's pretty obvious, especially if you play Madden. But anyways, guys, I'm not gonna stop the MUT gameplays though. Even after the qualifying is over, I still want to go back to what I kind of initially started my channel on, was doing kind of the theme drafts, but also I do want to maybe do some experiment videos, maybe in like franchise mode or something like that. So if you guys have any ideas as far as what all you guys would like to see, whether it be more MUT related, more gameplay, maybe like on regs, or anything for like franchise, let me know and I'll be more than happy to provide that. Also have some big things coming in the works within the next week or so, so be on the lookout. I might have already kind of teased it, I believe, in the previous video, but I won't really speak any further into that. But anyways, as you guys can see, my last pick of this draft, I go ahead and pick Deion Sanders, aka Neon Deion. Hopefully he's able to go ahead and stick to his defenders throughout the whole gameplay. And then, as always, just going to go ahead and show you guys what I'm rolling with on offense. I got Kirk, Julio, DK Metcalf, Chris Johnson, and Breida. And then Waller as my tight end. Pretty solid offensive line. And then defense, we've got Neon Deion, Fabian Moreau, AJ Bouye, and then Kenny Moore, and then Harris as my safeties. Solid linebackers. I feel like kind of like my weak spots are the defensive line. But jumping into the gameplay, looking at my opponents, he's got Chubb, Campbell, and then Michael Vick. So that's obviously something to keep an eye out for. Michael Vick, he's been kind of a staple in Madden for the past, really since his first appearance in Madden. What was it, like 04 when he was on the cover? So he's basically just been a staple of the game. So coming out, my opponent going to come out in a 5 wide set. I'm going to use the linebacker here. We get a tip from Moore, and it goes straight to, I believe it's, Fabian Moreau. So already a great way to go ahead and start the gameplay here. And just kind of a little side note, guys, just kind of going off on a little tangent before I go back into the gameplay. So I'm actually posting this the same night that the wild card weekend ended. So as far as kind of the results and kind of looking back at my prediction video, I ended up being, I want to say 1-3, because I picked the Bills and the Patriots to win last night, and then I picked the Saints and the Seahawks to win tonight, Sunday night, and unfortunately only well, not unfortunately for me anyways, being a Seahawks fan, the Seahawks won, but the rest of my predictions have kind of been an L. So like I said before, guys, I wasn't expecting to be perfect on that prediction video, and I'm off to kind of a rough start, but still have some opportunities to, make up for it, even though my NFC champion got knocked out in the wild card round, which is kind of crazy to say. But going back into the gameplay, my opponent hits me up top with Tyreek Hill, and no one's catching Tyreek Hill. And I kind of made a mistake there because I was putting Dion and usering him at safety. I felt like that was pretty good because I want to go ahead and use the guy with the quickest speed. But especially if you're going to come out in man-to-man, Tyreek Hill, unless if you're, you have a guy that has high press, Tyreek Hill's going to break that press, and he's pretty much gone if he throws him up on the street. So 4th and 1, try to do a little bit too much. I guess in this case I was already kind of set on what read I wanted to make, so I was trying to throw to that middle slot receiver when I believe I might have had the running back on the little wheel route or whatever out of the backfield. But nonetheless, just gonna have to go ahead and lock up on defense. My opponent, like on top of having Michael Vick, he's got Emmitt Smith. I believe he's got Josh Gordon. Yes, he's the one that actually motioned about, and that should have been a pick. I'm not exactly sure what kind of animation that was by Bouye, but nonetheless, able to go ahead and hold my opponent to 3. So kind of a slow start, I want to say, in this game, and I probably should have remembered as we go ahead and throw a dot right there. I believe this is the Dolphins playbook, if I'm not mistaken. I should have looked at the beginning of the video before I started it, but I believe this is a Dolphins playbook. So a playbook that's been pretty used pretty frequently, I would say, by the community. Just because, from what I noticed, they had some nice stuff out of split close, but split close has, for the most part, been relatively the same over the last couple of years. It's just split close, it can be tough, especially, with all the different plays and also being able to audible down to a couple different, popular run formations. That's what kind of makes it tough. But 3rd down and goal, no timeouts, and at that point, I told myself, if I don't have anything, I'm just going to try to run out of bounds with Chris Johnson and get the field goal, and that's exactly what we do because we knew we had ball coming out of half. Gonna go ahead, come out and split close, have Chris Johnson on a little angle route, and we're able to go ahead and dot for about 20. And I'm really liking what I'm doing here out of this split close, but I don't know what kind of read this was. I thought I might have had a step with Christian Kirk, or that might have been Metcalf, actually, now that I think about it. And we go ahead and throw a pick, but we're at my opponent's up to 1, so I'm thinking maybe we have a possibility of getting a safety. But my mistake here that I do is I forget to put Dion in a press because he is man-to-man. It's just like the way he was aligned wasn't right in front of the receiver. That equals an easy release by Tyreek Hill, and he was pretty much gone for about 50. But next play, we go ahead and make a crazy, I thought it was a user play, but A.J. Bouye bails us out with an interception to help us try to get back into the game. Hit the little angle route again that I motioned out to Chris Johnson. I'm really liking with what I'm working with on the split close, and then I throw that out route way too late. He was lurking all over it with that read. For some reason, and there's a couple plays that I didn't show, he was blowing up the run with Ed Reed, which is crazy because, typically you don't think of Ed Reed as a guy, and, it kills me to say this because Ed Reed's a Miami guy. So for those who don't know, I did graduate from University of Miami. So Ed Reed was more known as a coverage guy. You really wouldn't think of him as a guy that could go ahead and blow up the run, but that's exactly what my opponent was doing. He was tough, I'm not going to lie. He's very tough. At least on defense. On offense, all he was doing was just running stretch or mainly RPOs, and then if he didn't see that the streak or the slant, or not the slant, the stretch was open, he was just going to chuck it up to Tyreek Hill. But once I made the adjustment and put Dion on a man press on him, it was pretty much GG's after that. So 1st and 10, big play right here. He users down. I don't know what, I don't want to say it's some sort of cover 3 shell because there's only a single high safety. And we're able to go ahead, hit Julio Jones over the top, and tie the game at 10. Definitely a defensive struggle, at least for me anyways, especially me throwing 3 interceptions. I don't know, I just didn't really feel comfortable At least using Dak, to be honest with you. I've been playing so much regs, playing with Lamar, and playing with Lamar, it's like the equivalent of driving a Ferrari, to be honest with you. But 3rd and 14, my opponent gets I want to say he hits a seam. I tried to shade inside with my DB, but unfortunately he's not able to play it. But we go ahead and blow up the run. Initially, when I first saw this gameplay, I thought I was getting toted on, but no, I was actually able to stop the run pretty well. It's just the thing with the run; it's just so tough because it puts you in a lot of one-on-one situations, and you can get some bad animations from that. But 4th and 12, opponent decides to go for it. Comes out in like a little pistol set. Not exactly sure what he's doing because he hadn't run this all game. And so I'm thinking we got to get a stop. So I decided to just play coverage. And Neon Dion, you do not throw his way. And I just see a bunch of green grass, and all of a sudden out of nowhere I just see Sony Michel. So I try to cut back in because I don't think I would have gotten a touchdown either way. But we are in business. Just need to get maybe 1 first down and try to use up my opponent's timeouts. And it's pretty much going to be GG's in the chat from there. Going to go ahead, fall forward, try to dive. I don't know why I didn't just do kind of like the give yourself up animation, because I've seen animations like that where he fumbles. We are in a situation where we are iced, but we're in such close range that we should be able to hit it, and we do. But that leaves 1 second left for my opponent, and at this point, I thought I completely used the clock, and so I'm kind of in a conundrum. I'm thinking, do I just kick it out of bounds, sky kick it? I'm just thinking, I don't know what to do here, because I have seen some crazy stuff happen on kickoff. So at this point, I just go ahead and just decide to squib kick it and just pray that I get fluked. Because I have seen some guys just like try to lateral and eventually take it all the way back. But as you guys are going to see here, opponent gets it with Ed Reed, and we're going to go ahead and make a stop here. So with that being said, guys, if you guys did enjoy the video, I'd appreciate you guys hitting that like button. If you're looking forward to more Madden content on the channel, go ahead and hit the sub button. I would greatly appreciate that. And hit the bell for post notifications. That way you guys know exactly when it is that I post. Definitely an ugly but a sweaty game, to say the least. But we were able to go ahead and get the dub, guys. And with that being said, this is Dre Knows, and I'm signing out. Peace.